The set-off point for this hike is about 6.7, 6.8 kilometers in. There's one clearing, pile of rocks, and another clearing. The hike starts right here. I've put a little pile of stones on this boulder, sort of indicate where to set off from, and the path is right here. So a bunch of switchbacks. Head for the dead tree, and then you're on to the main path. There's switchback, 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 and it will go around and then on top behind this point, and then up and over. And just while we're on this side of the canyon, there's a sort of a preview of another hike. You can see the trail has been cut out. I think it's just in that little dip right there, and it comes across, and then it goes into Camel Pass. The parking area is just on the other side of here. It's 16 kilometers in from the highway, and rides up, and then it goes along this entire ridge. And then up that ridge, and then back, and then a little bit farther back in the canyon. And the end is some stone dwellings. There's a village of stone built structures, dozens of them on that backside of the canyon. It's a great hike, and check it out if you want. There's a little video on how to get to that one also. So that first big incline, come up right to the ridge line, right over this little crest, wraps up and around. And from here, you can actually just ride along on the side, and it wraps around, and you'll see now the next target, and that is right up there. Again, to crest this next ridge. And there are a multitude of ways to do that, and it all depends sort of how you want to go about it. But the first part is to bend to the left, and then it swoops, and then you can try to do a straight up or zigzag across and then come back across, or go all the way to that ridge and then up and across. Getting up to that ridge line, you can see the next target, and the trail is quite clear, and it is on the left side following the cliff. Whichever way you choose to go, when you get down there, you're still gonna have to come up. So I just take the most direct route and just come up, get it over with. And of course, this is the reason why I stay to the left. You can get the view of the whole purpose of this hike. We'll just continue right up here and go straight over this crest. Solid work. You can see where we've come from. That's a quick 225 meter ascent. So yeah, that feels good. And fortunately, we arrive at this nice flat plateau section. Far off in the distance, just barely see the trail. That is the target. So this will ride nicely, and then there's going to be another wicked ascent. Gets to the top of it, and then wraps around to that point to get a better view of the canyon network all around, out to the south, to the sea. Nice relaxing walk across the plains, open up in the canyon. Finally, we get to see the back side of the canyon. And from here, the remainder of the trail all the way up to the top is visible. In dry season, absolutely great. You can see everything that's coming up ahead of you, and you know where you need to be. Not quite to the peak yet, but here's about 420 meter ascent. And let's see, how many kilometers in are we? About three kilometers in, and about an hour. You can see the entire valley to the ocean from here. And now opening up in the back canyon. It is possible. Oh, go right through here, out and around to that back area. This is the dry season, so there's really not that much concern being near the edges. During the wet season, these rocks are incredibly dangerous, and I never get within meters of an edge that is rock. All of this just becomes moist, wet, slippery moss, and there is very, very little way to predict what is safe ground or not. So I do not suggest in the wet season trying to even climb down and around into there. It's not worth it. The view is fine from a couple meters back. It's absolutely gorgeous. And also just even hiking on the rock parts during the wet season is just you gotta be very, very careful. Right, so this is the last push. It's gonna go up, around, and then back out over that little ledge there, and that is the end of it. That's looking out on the back side of the canyon. Come up right on this ridge here, and there's this valley that separates this end obviously from that end, and there's a separation. There's no way of going around it, but it's just gorgeous backside of this canyon. And that valley turns and separates the two ends. It's possible to hike into the other side. This just takes a much more longer and sinuous route from the beginning. In Karif, everything is covered, and it's just going to be clouds. It's pretty magnificent. Whereas today, it's just a beautiful sky. Got a really good wind. That was so pleasant. So from there, coming back this way, just right there, you can see the high point that looks over the entire southern coast of Oman.